16 for the October meeting of the Westfield Redevelopment Commission. David, if you'll take the roll, please.
Joe Plankis,
Here.
John Dart,
Here.
Brian Pulowski, Mike Steele.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Next item is a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. We do have an agenda change that we will make. When we get to new business, we will move items J through O to the head of the list, and then we'll go back to items A. Obviously, we have a number of public hearings that go along with all of those items. First, we'll do the approval of the minutes for September 16th. Are there any comments or changes in regards to the minutes? Hearing none, I'm open for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, motion by John Dart, second by Brian Pulowski. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Brian, or David, rather?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-0, thank you. Approval of the RDC Executive Session Memorandum. Any questions on that? I'll move to approve those minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion by Joe Plankis, second by Brian. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-0, thank you. Financial matters, clerk treasurer's reports.
We did not receive a report from the clerk treasurer prior to the
I
meeting.
spoke with Marla earlier, Janelle, and she was working on city budgets and the like, so she didn't quite get our portions finished, which is fine. We'll
Okay.
have it for the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, approval of claims. Any questions on claims? Hearing none, I'm open for a motion for approval.
Motion approved.
Second?
Okay, motion by Brian Pulowski, second by John Dart. Approval of claims. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-0. Next item is Matt Trinian, Grand Park Agreements.
Good evening, Commission members. Again, Matt Trinian on behalf of Grand Park. Before you this evening are 31 agreements for your ratification. I did send this out a little over a week ago. No comments to date or questions today, but happy to take any if you have any now.
Okay, I have none. I've kind of glanced through them, Matt, and nothing out of the ordinary is, obviously you haven't pointed anything out, so we know you usually do that.
There's a big event that, I don't know if I read it in here or somewhere else about, I guess, was it a junior and maybe I'm dreaming this. What has just been agreed to for, is it next year?
You have a
Event
big
coming up for
summer
next year?
project, I think that's what, or
Yeah.
event that's, they're consolidating into fast pitch, is
You
it?
talking about the Alliance?
Alliance,
Is that what it
yes.
is?
Yeah, that's not, yes, the Alliance softball event has been at Grand Park before, but they're now bringing all age groups together. Bullpen Tournaments has been leading that. They've done a phenomenal job working with the Alliance to bring that event, one, to Westfield, but two, to continue to grow it in Westfield. That agreement is not going to be on our paperwork. That's all done on the
Okay.
bullpen side of things.
But it is a pretty,
It's a big deal.
It's a,
Yeah,
it's,
to bring
a,
them
it's a
together.
huge deal from fast pitch softball perspective. And again, totally give kudos to Bullpen for leading the charge on getting that event here and maintaining that to the point where they want to return and continue to build that event in our community.
As I remember, the article said there were like 215 college coaches.
It is a highly scouted event, yes. That's correct.
Okay.
Late July, early August.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, if you have no questions for Matt, we can look for a motion for approval of the Grand Park agreements.
Motion approved.
A second.
Okay, motion by Brian, second by John. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries
Thank you.
3-0. Thank you very much, Matt. We're going to pause on the executive director's report, and we'll go to the items, if that's okay, Janelle, to cover J through O and get those out of the way so we can free up Mr. Starnes.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Okay, great. We have a number of public hearings associated with these resolutions. The first resolution we'll look at is Resolution 35-2024 in regards to the 2024 lease addendum number 2. Cam, if you would, you can cover all three for us for edification, and then we'll handle them one by one.
Glad to do so. Thank you, President Plankis and members of the commission. Cam Starnes with Taft Law. I'll try to keep this brief. Certainly, let me know if any questions at the end. The leased premises for 3 outstanding tax-exempt lease rental bond obligations are portions of the Grand Park real estate. That's a 2016 series, a 2018 series, and as you all may recall, a 2024 refunding service series that took out the note on the event center. The bonds aren't secured by those portions of real property. They're actually secured by pledges of local income tax in the case of the 2016 and 2018 bonds, and general revenues of the city of Westfield in the case of the 2024 bonds. And the leases and the bond documents allow for substitution of leased premises so long as the amortization schedules and lease rental payment schedules do not change. So what's before you is a series of public hearings and resolutions that would do exactly that, substitute leased premises to change from utilizing Grand Park property to utilizing public infrastructure improvements as the leased premises underlying those leases. The reason to do so is to avoid tax implications, income tax implications related to the interest on those bonds. The IRS has rules that prohibit private business activity on property that is subject to tax-exempt leases. And so as the city looks at the future of Grand Park strategically, both in terms of operation, but also in terms of future real estate development and improvements on and around Grand Park, I know you all have talked extensively about the ongoing Grand Park master plan effort. That certainly has implications relative to the portions of Grand Park that are subject to these leases. So to substitute existing public infrastructure improvements that are not currently pledged to leases really just frees up a lot of flexibility in terms of how the city can proceed along with the Redevelopment Commission in planning for and working toward the future of Grand Park. So as I mentioned, there are 3 resolutions, each subject to a public hearing this evening. And really all that they do are authorize addenda to the leases underlying those 3 series of existing tax-exempt lease rental bonds, and change the legal descriptions to match, or the descriptions of the lease premises to match those infrastructure components instead of Grand Park. They declare the leases to be fair. We've worked with the DPW director, John Nail, to identify those improvements and value them. And then they reaffirm that the amortization and lease rental payment schedules under each of those leases will not change. So that's really the mechanics of the business to be accomplished this evening. Glad to take any questions you might have.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Cam from commission members?
Nope.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on with the public hearing for Resolution 35-24. We'll call that meeting to order public hearing rather, at 6:26. Do we have any emails or other documentation where people have wanted to put their comments on the record?
No, I have not received anything.
Okay. Is that the case for all of them, Janelle?
Yes.
Okay, seeing none and no one from the audience has any input, we will call the meeting or the public hearing at a close at 6:26
Oh.
PM.
Joe, we should check with Chris to make sure he doesn't have any comments.
Okay, Chris, have you gotten anything from the public arena in regards to any of these resolutions?
Is anyone waiting on
No, but I
Teams?
also do not have a way to receive public comment.
And there's no one waiting on Teams to speak?
No, we don't do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so close the public hearing. So we're open for a motion for approval of Resolution 35-2024, if there are no further questions.
I'd motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Brian, second by John. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next item on the agenda is public hearing for Resolution 36-2024. I think we've gotten our overview from Cam, so we're good. We'll open up the public hearing at 6:27 PM. Seeing no speakers and having nothing in documentation, we will close the meeting at 6:28. Close the hearing, 6:28. I move that we approve Resolution 36-24. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian Pulowski. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Thank you. We will then open up the public hearing for Resolution 37-2024 at 6:28 PM. Seeing no speakers and no documentation, we will close the meeting, the public hearing at 6:28. I'm open for a motion for approval of Resolution 37-2024.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Brian,
Second.
second by John Dart. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, those three resolutions have been approved. Thank you very much. I don't think we need Cam on anything else at this point. Is that correct, Janelle?
That's correct. Thank you,
Okay,
Cam.
Cam, thank you very much for Teams in, and have a good evening, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Janelle, why don't we turn it back to you for Executive Director's report, and then we will finish up with the other new business.
All right, thank you. All right, here's our report for October 21st. Little staff update. We had this last month one conference that was attended by a staff member. Rachel Baker attended on behalf of our department at the AIM conference. So hopefully had a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about public finance and network with other people within Indiana and learn a little bit more about municipalities. I'm not sure why I have a photo of Union Square on the staff update, but we'll, I guess, we'll talk about Union Square. I think that's on my next slide. Upcoming trainings and conferences. I'm attending the ULI Fall Meeting next week, which is in Las Vegas. I'm going to have an opportunity to visit a number of entertainment facilities out there in Las Vegas and surrounding communities, part of international or National Placemaking Council, and we'll be visiting Area 15, which is a really new and I would say more virtual reality-based and AI-based entertainment facility, family entertainment facility, and a handful of others. So should be an exciting week to look at some opportunities of things we could bring to Westfield. I'm also attending with a handful of directors and the mayor a trip to Peachtree City, Georgia, where we'll be learning a little bit more about golf cart communities and how they are administered and some of the design principles that surround a successful golf cart community. And then we'll be hosting locally a ULI urban plan. There are a handful of local volunteers out of ULI Indiana that will be facilitating a mock RFP response. It's a really fun development activity that will have maybe 20, to 30 members of the city, staff, city council, RDC members, of course, are welcome to attend as well, where we will read an RFP, a mock RFP, and then teams will respond and compete against one another, and a winner will be selected by a mock city council. So it's a really interesting opportunity for people to explore different roles within the development world and consider different perspectives that they might not have to address during their day-to-day work. And hopefully will help all of our departments as well as our public officials be better responsive to some of the challenges that are associated with development work.
What are the dates for that, you know?
That is on November 7th, and it will be hosted at City Hall. And then later in the month, a small group of us will be taking a trip to Texas with Hunden Partners. As you know, they've been helping us with some economic development studies, and they have some examples of some entertainment venues in the Dallas area that they would like to introduce us to, as well as some hotel concepts. And so we'll be a small group of us touring those and meeting with some of the owners, including Grand Prairie, Texas, which has a really unique water park concept, which is owned and interestingly franchised by the city. So interesting opportunities to talk to them about the financing structure and some of their successes and maybe challenges that they've had as they've implemented that work. Here's our construction update with Union Square as an appropriate photo. Concrete work is complete. We actually have no updates from last month. This is very similar. They'll have the systems updated on the garage spring of 2025 with a turnover and public parking available in the May-June timeframe. The Union Square commercial and residential area should be dried in by December 2024, so they can be working on all the interior finishes. Sun King, the old fire station is temporarily relocated. I drove by today. It's still in the same location as in this photo from last month. We will get an update from Old Town and hopefully have an update on that construction schedule by the time we all meet in November. One other update on construction that I think is really exciting, Park and Poplar. We closed on some property over the summer on the north side of the Midland Trace Trail, between the Midland Trace Trail and Park Street. And the Public Works Department has demoed 2 buildings there, and they have constructed a temporary parking lot. There will be capacity for 91 cars there. And hopefully before Thanksgiving, they will have solar panels installed so that we can have lighting, so that it's safe to park there at night as well. Big thanks to the Public Works Department for getting that up and running for us. Comprehensive plan update. This is really kicking off here in November. We've had some initial discussions with the Rundell-Ernstberger planning team. Again, this is Rundell-Ernstberger, Urban 3, and Lockmuller Group. They're doing an initial baseline assessment here in fall of 2024. I have one specific meeting that I've held with Cynthia Bowen, their lead planner, to talk about some of the plans that we have with our Grand Park Master Plan so that she can consider how that will be integrated into the comp plan. And we will be having regular meetings with them starting in November to talk about our goals and the process to make sure that we are really looking through our vision and creating a comprehensive plan that, you know, again, plans for the future of Westfield and our growth. Downtown redevelopment plan, my update here is that the final contract was approved at BPW last month. It was awarded to Browning Day. They're getting started with some initial discovery here this fall. They're going to be doing a survey of existing buildings, determining what types of assets we have within the downtown area, both building infrastructure and I would say drainage related. Because we do have so much topography in our downtown, this is really an opportunity for us to consider how drainage and those drainage planes can create assets for us within the downtown area. There are certain pieces of land that can't be built on due to water drainage issues. And so those are really opportunities for us to create great sight lines. And we'll be working with their team and the mayor, community development, public works, and the public to help create this vision for downtown. And this is being managed through the Community Development Department, but our department will have a significant role in the process. Quick update on the Grand Park Area Master Plan. This image is the same as what you have seen previously. All of the highlights that I have on this slide are the same, but I wanted to provide some updates on some of the ideas that we have presented as far as locations of certain amenities. Again, these are some of our goals. Nothing has changed here. We are getting ready in the next 4 days to really dive into the master plan with our design team and further refine these concepts. This is all output from the original workshop 1, showing our adjacencies. This is our 5-minute walk for the southern portion. And as we are working forward on discussions of the major attractions within the Grand Park Master Plan and the adjacencies, these are 2 of the options that we're currently evaluating with the design team for placement of some key facilities. As you can see, and as we've discussed before, we are hoping to have an opportunity to put a 10,000-seat stadium in at Grand Park. This would provide an opportunity for some key events to be hosted at Grand Park, including possibly university-level sporting events. I'm sure Matt Trinian could provide some additional information on the types of projects or the types of events that we could attract with this size stadium. But this is a goal that we would have for the long-term build-out of Grand Park. So one option would be to have this located right up near the event center. Another option is to create really another node at the other end of this development at 186th Street, which you can see off to the right. Creates a lot of visibility for the district, and then it also provides the advantage of being able to centrally locate parking and have adjacency to both GPEC and the stadium. We are tentatively looking at a location of an ICE facility. You can see the location that's shown and labeled as ICE facility there south of 186th Street. It could also fill into the location that we have shown with this darker yellow dot is the same size development. So those are just alternative locations that could be considered. And then we're also looking at the possibility of having a destination retail or entertainment facility on site, which you can see in purple. The balance of what would be developed in this district is primarily mixed use, housing, office, retail, but really want to make sure that we have room for these key components before we start fitting in all the rest.
Is there room for adequate parking with a 10,000-seat stadium and the other events going on?
Yes, we would definitely ensure that we have adequate parking capacity for events to be held here, for sure. We had talked previously about some cross-sections through the development. This was a new version of the central spine. We had talked about this previously as an opportunity to have I would say, a linear park through this development. The previous section showed something slightly different, which included the bike facilities. You can see the bike lanes out here on the outer edges of this development. The bike lanes were more centrally located in the previous version. We really wanted to pull those to the outside to make sure that this central spine and what I would say the linear park portion of this, the 56-foot, my mouse keeps disappearing, but the 56-foot section along the center would not have bike facilities, and the reason for that is that we have more opportunities to create really great placemaking opportunities. This could be playgrounds, it could be amphitheaters, it could be other types of attractions, including water features, et cetera. Interested in any ideas that people might have for really great attractions that we could include in this linear park, but again, this does give us the flexibility by keeping the bike traffic away from the gathering spaces. And then these are some updates on what we call an A street and a B street. A streets are really where your primary traffic and primary retail would be located. This is where you'd want to have a majority of your businesses. B streets would be, a little bit less desirable. You'd probably have cheaper rents along those areas, or employee entrances, for example, or smaller scale development. It's just not going to take as much traffic volume as those A streets. So a little bit narrower. We still do look at having one lane of parking, and we, of course, would have plantings and sidewalks along all of these streets in the development. Additionally, we are studying our opportunities to develop along the easement that is through the site. There is a Buckeye gas pipeline that runs diagonally through Grand Park. And we currently have a section here that shows 2 lanes of parking with some angle, or 2 lanes of, 2 drive lanes with angled parking on each side and some trees. This is to ensure that we have adequate clearance around the pipeline. You can see that right there at the center line, right above the 50-foot label, showing the location of a pipeline and then the easement distance required from adjacent plantings and buildings. So over the next few days, we'll be working on more refined concepts of these plans. We will have a handful of people here from Boston and Atlanta. We'll have Matt Trinian and a handful of people from the various design-related departments in the city, all providing input, and are very excited to have further development of this.
A lot
Happy to
going
answer
on.
any questions you have.
Exciting stuff. Any questions from commission members? Good report, Janelle.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we will return back to our new business section. We've got 4 more public hearings to do here. First one will be, is there anything you'd like to cover with these, Janelle, as we go through?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The first here, and just as a reminder of the process, for every confirmatory resolution for economic development areas, TIF allocation areas, there is a 4-step process. The first is a declaratory resolution, then, and that is done at the RDC. It will then go to Plan Commission for approval, then to City Council for approval, and then come back to the RDC with a public hearing. So we're at the last stage for all 4 of these EDAs, and set up here for all of our public hearings. And I'm going to talk through the scope of the changes for each one of them, and we can do the public hearing as we go through. So this is, oh, we do not have the maps in here. This is the, I'm not sure why we don't have the maps in here, but, what's that? Brad did not include them. I am going to pull up the declaratory resolutions to show the maps, because I think that it's a lot easier to talk through that way. Here, let's just go down to November, or here we go. Oh, I don't even know that these were not September. These were August, I hope. My apologies for the delay here. We should have had these attached. Still not there. We've got Wheeler Landing and 146th Street. Where'd it go? They were not attached in the city council meeting either. So we're July? Still back even further. All right, I am not finding them. Did we list, did I bring up August? This is August 19th. Oh, all of them? Oh. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna bring up the map from Grand Junction. Okay, Here are the maps. So the Grand Junction EDA, this is our first one, right? Okay. Grand Junction EDA is quite large, extends over a large portion of the downtown area as well as around Grand Park and along US 31. And we're making a handful of adjustments to this EDA, and here's an enlarged version of one of our areas, one of the regions. You can see in red that we are removing a handful of parcels from the EDA. Specifically in Grand Junction Plaza, we're removing park parcels that do not need to be included because obviously they do not collect any tax increment as they are owned by the city. We're also removing a couple of parcels here just south of the Midland Trace Trail, as well as these parcels to the west of Poplar or Westfield Boulevard, because those will be included in a different EDA. They'll be in the East Side EDA so that they can be combined with other parcels associated with those developments. We're also adding parcels shown in green, which will be part of this future redevelopment planning area of downtown so that we can further incentivize redevelopment within the downtown area. We also have a couple of other changes that are happening up in the Wheeler Landing area. There is a parcel here in red that needs to be removed from the Grand Junction EDA because it will be included in a development as part of Wheeler Landing. All three of these parcels will show up in the Wheeler Landing EDA later on in this meeting as a combined project. The developer is intending to replat those three parcels as a single parcel, which cannot be accomplished if they're in separate economic development areas. And we have one other close-up here, which shows a parcel which very likely had not been annexed into the city at the time that this economic development area was created. And so this is just being cleaned up since that parcel is part of the city at this point in time. I think that is the summary of all of the changes to the Grand Junction EDA. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on that one.
Any questions for Janelle? Otherwise, we will open the public hearing. We'll open a public hearing at 6:49 p.m. And seeing no speakers or documentation, we will close the public hearing at 6:49 p.m. Do I have a motion for approval of Resolution 30-2024?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brian, second by John Dart. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye?
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes 3-0. Next item on the agenda is the declaratory resolution 31-2024, actually a confirmatory resolution for East Side EDA. Janelle?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I am going to go through the same process here. We have the new confirmatory resolution. Again, the maps are not included on this one, so I'm going to pull them up from the original declaratory resolution. This is the map of the East Side EDA. There are a handful of parcels that are not contiguous as part of the East Side EDA. I'm not sure what the history is on why they are kind of peppered throughout the east side of US 31, but we are focused primarily in this downtown area. So what we're doing, here's a blow up of the area that we're focused on. We are, what is shown in red is existing Westfield East Side EDA parcels, and we are adding a handful of parcels which were just removed in the just approved confirmatory resolution for Grand Junction. Again, so that these can be combined into development projects that we have planned for this area. And here's a better enlargement. So these parcels here to the north, as well as these parcels here to the south of the Midland Trace Trail, will all be combined into the east side area. This is part of what we have previously discussed as Park and Poplar project, which will come to you guys in the future, as well as development here along US 31, between US 31 and Poplar Street, which is part of the Grand Millennium PUD. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Janelle? No. Commission members? Then we will open the public hearing on the East Side EDA resolution at 6:51. Seeing no speakers nor documentation, we will close the public hearing at 6:51. I have a motion for approval of Resolution 31-2024.
Motion to approve Resolution 31-2024.
Second?
Okay, motion by John Dart, second by Brian Pawlowski. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Janelle, we'll move on to Wheeler Landing.
Okay. This is the confirmatory resolution for Wheeler Landing Economic Development Area. Same system as before. This is the fourth step in the series, and I'm going to bring up the maps from the original declaratory resolution. This right here is the same parcel that we just discussed as being removed from the Grand Junction EDA. It is being added to the Wheeler Landing EDA along with this parcel that was not in an EDA and this parcel, which was previously not annexed. So they will, again, all be combined into a single parcel to be part of the Leo Brown development. And then there's an additional parcel up here, which is part of I-Beach, which also had not been annexed into the city at the time the EDA was created. So that will just be added to the Wheeler Landing EDA at the same time. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from Janelle, from commission members? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing for Resolution 32-2024 at 6:53 p.m. And seeing no speakers or documentation regarding that particular resolution, we'll close the meeting at 6:53. I have a motion for approval.
Motion approved.
A second.
Motion by Brian Pawlowski, second by John Dart. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart, Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. And we'll go on to the last item, which is the declaratory resolution, confirmatory resolution for 146th Street, Westfield EDA.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the town road, or town run EDA. This is the addition of an allocation area for the town run development in the 146th Street EDA, my apologies. And I'm going to bring up the map from our declaratory resolution. This in purple is the previous extents of the 146th Street EDA, and we'll be adding these two parcels in green. These are both included in the town run development, which we'll be reviewing here as the next action item as well for a TIF pledge resolution. There is a mixed-use development, which includes a Lifetime Fitness and a handful of retail establishments, and some significant site work that will be funded through some TIF dollars in this green area. So we are amending the EDA to include this additional site-specific sub-allocation area for that town-run project. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Janelle? We've discussed this one in detail in the past. It's an excellent project. Open for motion for, well, we're going to do the public hearing. I apologize. We will open the public hearing on 33-2024 at 6:55 p.m. Seeing no speakers nor documentation, we will close the public hearing at 6:55 p.m. Okay, I have a motion for approval of Resolution 33-2024.
Yeah, motion to approve Resolution 33-2024.
Second.
Okay, motion John Dart, second Brian Pawlowski. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart, Brian Pulowski.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Next item is Resolution 34-2024, TIF Pledge for Town Run Project.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a TIF pledge resolution associated with the Town Run project, which was part of the allocation area that was just approved, confirmatory resolution in the 146th Street EDA. And this is a resolution to pledge 50% of the TIF from the Town Run development to public infrastructure. This is an economic development bond that was approved last week by the Economic Development Commission and the City Council. At the end of the project, when the bond is defeased, any overages will come back to the RDC. So it's basically a 50%, not to exceed 50% of the tax increment. And I'm happy to answer any questions, or Ryan can answer any that you might have that are legal related.
Okay. Any questions for Janelle or Ryan from commission members? This does not require a public hearing, so
Correct.
we will look for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brian Pawlowski, second by John Dart for approval of Resolution 34-24. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0. That is almost, I guess it's the second biggest agenda we've had so far.
There's a lot of public hearings today.
A lot of public hearings today. Okay, anything else, Janelle, that we need to cover
I have
for other
nothing-
business?
Nothing further today.
Okay. I'm open for motion for approval of adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Aye, and aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Meeting's adjourned at 6:58. And Roger, if you can, I think you've signed your paperwork already, but